Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome back to the FCS Football channel. And today we are back with another match preview, this time for Manchester United versus West Ham in the Premier League. Now, of course, before we get into the preview, as we always do, there is a watch along for the game. Details are on my side. So kickoff is at 4:15 tomorrow. So the stream will start about 10 to 4, so about 25 minutes before kickoff. So be there or be square, as the cool cats say. Without further ado, we can get into the preview. Now, United do come into this game sat in 6th place, with West Ham, our opponents for this for tomorrow, sat in 13th. Of course, this is the kind of the up-to-date table, excluding the Liverpool versus Leeds game, which is currently on right now. So should the score remain 1-1, Liverpool, well, where's Leeds? Well, does the league table even change? Leeds will go up one, so no, it wouldn't affect both Man United and West Ham, but obviously should Liverpool win, they don't even touch us. It's irrelevant, this game, essentially. But yeah, so this is the current league table. United are in 6th place, and a win today, given that the fact that Chelsea got humiliated really by Brighton by 4-1, a win today for Manchester United would take us above Chelsea and into, well, 5th place? Yeah, 5th place, with a game in hand over Newcastle, who would be above us by 1 point. So a big opportunity for Manchester United to climb the table and really put ourselves in a great position for that top 4 spots, because you'd back us to win our 2 games in hand over Newcastle, especially given the games we have left in this season, of this first half of the season, I should say, most of which being bottom half of the table teams. So that it's a situation where you expect United to win, and I imagine we probably will. When it comes to Manchester United and our last game, of course, we did play Sheriff Tiraspol in our last game. A game in which we did win 3-0. Diego Dalot, Marcus Rashford and Cristiano Ronaldo all scoring in that game. Now, we were meant to do a watch along for it. However, for different reasons, we weren't able to do it. But I did manage to catch a bit of the game here and there. And it was a good performance from Manchester United. It really, really was. And we thoroughly deserved to win that game. And obviously put us in a position where we are now a 2-0 or a 2-goal margin win away from topping our Europa League group, which is a position we had to kind of put ourselves in, given the fact we did lose our opening group game to Real Sociedad in the Europa League. But I think what was kind of most pleasing for me about this game was not only the fact that we did win it in this fashion we did, but we saw a lot of returning faces to the Manchester United starting 11. I'm talking the likes of, what's his name, like Donny van der Beek, Harry Maguire. Whether or not you believe they are first team players and they should be first team players, well, that's a different question. But to have them back in contention is an important thing, and is a good outcome from that Europa League tie, I guess. When it comes to our last kind of proper game, because look, let's be real here, Sheriff isn't a tough game when you look at the kind of oppositions United would actually normally play against. Sheriff Tiraspol are at very best a championship side. But that was Chelsea, and of course we did draw 1-1 with them. Jorginho scoring a penalty and Casemiro scoring late on to rescue a point for Manchester United. And this game was what I was most encouraged about, and most happy with, because United played really well against Chelsea, and we deserved more than we got from that game. And that last minute goal is what has kind of kept us in a position where we can be aiming to try and overtake the likes of Chelsea and Newcastle, of course. With all that being said, this is the team news for the both sides. So for West Ham, they are missing quite a few first team players. Maxwell Cornet isn't quite that, but he is a good squad player for them. And I think he is a bit of a myth for them. Jarrod Bowen is a first team player and looks like he will be out. I believe he was on the edge of being fit. If I double check that quickly. Yeah, Bowen's about, there's a 25% chance he'll be out. So about 75% chance that he'll be fit and ready to play. So chances are Bowen will feature in the game in some way. Lucas Paqueta, who's out with a shoulder injury, obviously a marquee signing for West Ham this summer. He's about 50-50, while Maxwell Cornet and Craig Dawson are more than likely going to be out for this game. When it comes to how West Ham will play, they are going to almost certainly play either a 5, kind of like a 3-4-2, 3-4-3, sorry, or a what would it be? It would be a 5-2-3, one of those. But I imagine they'll probably stick with a 4-2-3-1, with Fabianski in goal, Kufal at right back, Kurt Zouma, and maybe probably Ogbonna as the two central defenders, with kind of an Aaron Cresswell at left back, Thomas Soucek and Declan Rice in that midfield double pivot, with a front four of, I imagine Bowen will start, so Bowen on the right, probably Flynn Downs at number 10, with Pablo Fornals on the left, with Scamacca up top, although we could see potentially a Pablo Fornals partner, a Ben Rama in that number 10 kind of left wing role. But the key player for West Ham for me is undoubtedly Declan Rice. He's such a good player, Declan. He's classy on the ball and off the ball. He can get the ball, he can drive with it. He's a great defender. He can win the ball really, really well. I think Declan Rice, there's a reason why a lot of the big teams, for example, Chelsea, have been sniffing over him for so long. He's a very, very good player, Declan Rice. And I expect to see this summer, again, big teams after his signature, because he is a top player. When it comes to Manchester United and our team news, it's getting better. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is back in training. Hopefully he'll be back sooner rather than later and available to be part of the squad, because Diogo Dalot at the moment is playing every minute of every game, more or less. Luckily, we have Tyrell Malacia, who, while he is a left back and is left-footed, he has a strong right foot, so he can play off the right, like we saw in the Europa League against Sheriff, and he's capable of covering there. However, we want to get Wan-Bissaka back and get him in the team, get him playing in that kind of Diogo Dalot role, and see how good he can be there. But I know I and many other people have our doubts whether or not he can play there. When it comes to Rafael Varane and Anthony Martial, both are out and both look to be out until post-World Cup, Varane especially, there's hopes that Martial might be back pre-World Cup. However, it's really going to be touch and go. And when it comes to Martial, for me, he's got to be fighting to be back for the World Cup, before the World Cup, because I think Erik ten Hag will use him and will play him, and I think he is a first-team player for Manchester United when he's fit. And I think Erik ten Hag knows that, and Erik ten Hag has the same feeling, given the fact every time he gets back fully fit, he starts and he plays. So it's all about getting Martial fully fit, and that I'm just seeing the Leeds goal from earlier. It is absolutely shocking from Joe Gomez. Makes the tackle, gives it back to Alisson, or tries to. Alisson's come way out of his goal. It's a poor pass from Joe Gomez, and he's definitely at fault. And it's just an open goal for Rodrigo to tap into. It's so poor from Liverpool. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to Martial, like I say, if he wants to be going to the World Cup, which he obviously certainly will, he will want to get back into the France squad. Obviously, 2 years ago, he was a consistent player in that French squad, or at least a consistent member of the French squad. Obviously, when they won the UEFA Nations League, he's dropped out due to injuries, and he's struggling to get back in it. And with the form that he's been in this season, I think if he's playing regularly, he can and will get back into that French squad. It's all about playing regularly and as such being fit, and that's Martial's problem at the moment. We know Raphael Varane will be in the French squad, and we know he will almost certainly be out until post World Cup. So it's not much. There's no real point kind of dwelling over Varane. We know the situation with him. When it comes to Martial, it's a bit of an unknown. From a personal standpoint, as a Man United fan, I don't want Martial to go to the World Cup because I think a long rest for Martial would make the world of good, allowing him to recover and kind of. I mean, you look at someone like an Ousmane Dembele; they've been through so many injuries, and now after such a prolonged spell out of the team and not playing, he seems to be at least somewhat past those injury problems, and maybe do the same to Martial. Maybe those injury problems kind of start to disappear, and we see a Martial that can play 6 or 7 or 10 games on the bounce, whereas right now you're lucky to get 2, 3 on the bounce from him, which is a real shame because he's a top player. Now, before we do get into Erik ten Hag, my prediction for the team that Erik ten Hag will play, please do hit that like button below and subscribe if you are new and you haven't already. That would be greatly appreciated, and please do get in the live chat and let me know your starting 11 for this game. And I agree. Look, I think Martial, if he was fit, I think you can rely on him. And I've said that for a while. I think Martial's a top player. I think he's been overhated over the last few years. And I think he is very much good enough to be our starting striker. And I think he's proven that this year. The issue is just those injuries. Like, he hasn't played one full 90 this year. He's come on in cameos and picked up knocks. You can get a fully fit Martial. He's a player I think you can rely on. But it doesn't look like you're going to get that. At least based on this year, there's no evidence to suggest you're going to get that. But moving on into the team, I believe Erik ten Hag will play. So I think he does stick with largely the same team that we've seen most of this season. So David De Gea in goal, Diogo Dalot, Lisandro Martinez and Luke Shaw. I think he does bring in Harry Maguire. Maguire did play quite well when he came on against Sheriff. And I think based on the start of this season, we tried to use Maguire. And I think we'll try and use Maguire again. I think Maguire has a lot of qualities. And I don't think we've seen the best of them for a long time. But there's undoubted quality there in Harry Maguire. And it's about trying to get the best out of Harry Maguire. And I think if you can get the best out of Harry Maguire and you get the best out of Lindelof, Harry Maguire is a better defender than Lindelof. And this is coming from someone who really likes Victor Lindelof. And because of that, I do think we might see Harry Maguire start this game for Erik ten Hag. Casemiro and Donny van der Beek, Donny van der Beek, Casemiro and Christian Eriksen will undoubtedly start in midfield for me. He's proven time and time again that that these two are the the number one choice in that double pivot. So that's not going to change today. So it will be Casemiro and Eriksen. And then it's the front four that I think has the most question marks about, because there's kind of a hope that Martial will be fit, although it looks very unlikely. We know Garnacho played against Sheriff, got man of the match. He was unbelievable. Jadon Sancho. We saw Bruno play out on the right hand side against Sheriff. So there's a lot of possibilities through that front line. But I do think we're gonna see Cristiano Ronaldo lead the line with Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, and Antony behind them. I don't think there's any doubt with Antony starting. I don't think there's any doubt with Rashford starting and Bruno starting, really. unless they've got knocked, and then that just kind of leaves Cristiano Ronaldo. And where will he play? And if he does play, no, if he doesn't play, sorry, where would someone like a Marcus Rashford play, and where and who would come in for him? I guess. We need to win to move above Chelsea. We do. And look, I mean, a win in general, regardless of what it does for us, is important. And that should always be the aim going into every game. But the incentive that we move above Chelsea is obviously there and massive. And look, as you say, Lindelof should start, and I agree with you. So I've actually gone for the same team as I think Erik ten Hag will go with. But I've just brought in Victor Lindelof. I think Victor Lindelof's having a very, very good season. And to me, you can't, and he doesn't deserve to be dropped. I think he's playing very well, Lindelof. And I would play him alongside Lisandro Martinez. And generally, this team, look, I don't think Ronaldo's having a great season. But he played well against Sheriff. Do I think you can throw Garnacho into this game? No. Sancho, is he playing unbelievably? No. Look, if Martial was fit, I would start Martial. But given that he's not, I think Marcus Rashford should be moved out back to the left. And that only leaves Cristiano Ronaldo to come in and start up top. So that's kind of my thought process behind that. I would like to see someone like a Donny van der Beek come in. And maybe, if I go over to this screen, I put all starting lineup in. And Bruno. Like that. Maybe we could see a change potentially where we do take, let's say, Ronaldo off for a Van der Beek. And we maybe move Marcus up top, put Bruno out onto the left, and we go into more of a 4-3-3 with Donny van der Beek and Christian Eriksen playing as kind of that free. I think that is something that could work, and something I would definitely be interested in trying out and seeing if we are in a state, we get to the stage where we are winning the game and we are quite comfortable in it. And maybe if West Ham are starting to grow into it, because that could give us a platform where we can go to a little bit more defensive shape in that 4-3-3. But it also allows us to get players who are better on the ball, great passers, great in possession of it, in someone like a Donny van der Beek. We will go for a right back in January. I think that's I think it's an interesting question, because I think we do need a right back to back up Diego Dalot. I mean, we know Wan-Bissaka's been out for a long time, but I mean, we've said it for a long time. We don't know. I don't think anyone believes Wan-Bissaka is a option for Erik ten Hag and fits the way Erik ten Hag wants his fullbacks to play, which means we do need a right back. Manchester United have been linked to a lot of fullbacks. Jeremy Frimpong is one of them, and I think we should go for a right back. It's just, will the Glazers give us money to spend in January? That's been the issue for Manchester United a lot in the past. I mean, Ralph Rangnick was speaking to the media a few days ago, I believe it was, and was saying how he tried to get us to sign or go in for a load of players in January, the likes of Julian Alvarez, Benjamin Sesko, and they refused. And that's why we did no business last January. And I do fear somewhat that we're going to be in the same sort of predicament come this January, where Erik ten Hag is having to kind of deal with what he's got rather than be given the players and given a budget to go really make this team one that can really push, not just to win the Europa League. Now, we've got some top teams dropping in from the Champions League, the likes of Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Sevilla, Ajax, but also to go solidify a place in the Champions League spots in the Premier League, whether that's top 4, whether that's top 3. Because I think I think that's quite easily possible, and something United should be aiming for. And when you look at the league table, the table suggests that as well. And you look at Tottenham, who are in 3rd. They've played 2 games more than us, and have only got 6 more points. We win our 2 games in hand. We go level on points for them with the same amount of games played. Yes, goal difference wise, we'll probably be below them. I don't believe we're going to win our next 2 games by a margin of 10, but it shows that we're good. We're in a good position with a lot of the poorer side still to play. But look, this is going to be a hard game. West Ham will always come to try and rustle some feathers with David Moyes in charge. I've always thought he's been a bit better about him being sacked from Manchester United, and he always likes to kind of make this game as hard as possible for us, and his teams are always up for a game at Old Trafford. That being said, I do think United will win the game. I believe United are good enough to win this game. We're playing some unbelievable football at the moment. You look at the games against the Spurs, Chelsea in particular. We played unbelievable in those games, and I think we bring in a performance level close to those or matching those. We will win this game, and because of that, I do think we'll win the game. I'm going for a 2-0 Manchester United win. Now, if you have enjoyed this match preview, please do hit that like button below and subscribe if you are new and you haven't already. That would be greatly appreciated, and it helps to get this ticker moving up and up and up. It helps to grow the channel and the community, which is greatly appreciated. In the description down below, you will see a link to the watch long, which is tomorrow. So if you go over there, you can turn on notifications for that stream. So when we go live over there, you'll be notified. But the details are of course on my side. So we'll start the stream at 4:45 with kickoff being at we'll start the stream at 3:50 with kickoff being at 4:15. But yeah, Garnacho should start. I'm not against Garnacho starting, and I haven't started Sancho either. So we're on the same page. I'm not against Garnacho starting. I would just start. I don't think you can have Garnacho, Rashford, and Ronaldo all start. So Ronaldo comes in over Garnacho. But yeah, thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed, like I say, please do hit that like button below. Subscribe if you are new and you haven't already. That button's red. Press it. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one in a bit.